Welcome everyone, all those who are present as well as those who are looking at us virtually. We want to welcome you this Sunday morning as we join to offer our salutations and devotions to the feet of our God. I invite you now to join me in opening prayer. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsajarurmardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagatguru Om Adakshe Varadevi Akshare Brahmavadini Gayatri Jagat Mata Vishwayoni Namastute Om Bhurabhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimari Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Bhurabhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimari Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Bhurabhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimari Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukmiva Bandhanam Mrityomukshyaamritam Om Prithvimaya Vrinaloka Devi Om Vishnu Nakrita Panchadharirvam Devi Pavitram Puruchasanam Om Shri Prithvi Mata Vyo Namaha Namami Om Apavitra Pavitra Sarvashtam Gatopyo Yashmari Pundrikaksham Savaya Bhayantra Suchi Vasprakshalanam Samarpyami Govindaya Namah Vajanantaksakruvaka Swaha Om Amrito Pastanamasi Swaha Om Amrita Vidhanmasi Swaha Om Satyam Yasha Shrimai Shri Shrayanam Swaha Asprakshanam Samarpyami Govindaya Namah Kushmure Sato Brahma Kushmadye Janardana Kusagare Sankram Devam Kushidharam Karo Mayam Om Yena Badho Baliraja Dyanendro Mahabala Devam Prativannami Raksha Machala, what's in the left hand? Invite all to join us now in the purificatory rites, the unscorched. Let's first the lips. Om Rangamaste Astunos, Om Nasur Me Pranastu Eyes, Om Aksharo Me Chakshurastu Ears, Om Karanyo Me Shrutramastu Arms, Om Bahu Me Almastu Thighs, Om Urvu Me Ujvastu Alva, Om Arishtani Me Angani, Danustarva Me Sahasantu. We invite you now to join with us in this Svasti Vachan, the benediction mantras. With the fast ones, those of you who know it, please join with us. Om Hari Om Swastena Indro Vridastra Swastina Bhusha Vishvaveda Swastena Starsho Rishtaneli Swastino Brahaspatir Dadatu Om Payaprithivyam Payaushadishu Payudivyantarikṣe Payudha Payasvati Parishna Santuyam Om Vishnu Raratmasi Vishnu Shvatrishnu Vishnu Surasi Vishnu Duvasi Vishnu Vasi Vishnavekava Om Agnir Devata Vatu Devata सूर्यदेवता चंद्रमा देवता वसुदेवता रुद्रदेवता आदित्य देवता मरुतो देवता विश्वदेव देवता बृहस्पति देवता इंद्रो देवता वरुण देवता ओम द्यौ शांतिरन्तरिक्षं शांति पृथ्वी शांतिरापा शांति औषधय शांतिर्वनस्पति शांति विश्वदेव शांति ब्रह्मा शांति सर्वगं शांति शांतिरेव शांतिर्सामा शांतिरेधि ओम विश्वानि देवा सवितुर्वृतानि परासुवा यद्भद्रं तमहासुवा ओम शुक्लं वरदं देवा शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये ओम शांति शांति शान्तिकरा भवन्तु. We consecrate our baby now. Om Bhurasi Bhumirasi Ditirasi Viswadhaya Viswasya Bhonasya Dhatri Prithvi Acha Prithvi Trigongha Prithvi Mahi Om Sih Prem se Prithvi Mata Ki Jai Sharanam Prabhu. Our first offerings to Bhagavan Ganesha, flowers in the hand, flowers symbolic of force of coming from our hearts. To this Ganesha, whose Vigneshwar, we offer salvation, we ask Bhagavan, whatever obstacles, difficulties we may experience in life, may we have the ability to be able to recognize them first of all, and the knowledge to be able to overcome them all. To this Ganesha, we join in humble salutation. Om Gajananam Bhutganadisevitam Kapilyajanam Umastam Shokavinaashataram Namani Vigneshwarapadapankajam Om Yehiram Mahesha Putram Samasta Vignogavinashadaksham Mangalya Puja Pratamam Pradhanam Jnana Pujam Bhagavan Namaste. Om Sarvamangalamangaye Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namaskute. Sri Ganeshaya Namaha Namami Sri Gauri Mata Vyo Namaha Namami.
Jai Ganesha Gananath Dayanizi Sakala Vighan Karo Dur Hamare. Jai Ganesha Gananath Dayanizi Sakala Vighan Jai मूषक भारत धर्म सखारे जय ब्रह्मादिक सुर धावत मन में ब्रह्मादिक सुर धावत मनावे ऋषि मुनि कर शब्द तुम्हारे ब्रह्मानंद सहाय करो नित्य ब्रह्मानंद सहाय करो नित्य भक्त जनों के तुम रखवारे बदले जो ज्ञान तुम्हारे जिसके पूर्ण धार सारे
Class runs on, we will try for Lord Ganesha. Om Jai Ganapati Sadguru Sadan Kavivar Vadan Kripa Vignaran Mangal Karan Jai Jai Girjan Om Gacha Ganesh Gauri Devi Swastana Parameshwari Am puja karishyami Om sada sanubhava Prem se Gauri Ganesha Bhagwan ki jai Sharanam Prabhu. Thank you, Lord. We meditate now on offer praises to Bhagwan in the form of Mahalakshmi, Lakshmi, the dispenser of prosperity, of wealth, of health, of beauty, of fortune. Most importantly, in Hindu philosophy, light is a symbol of wisdom, as opposed to darkness, which symbolizes ignorance. So we offer praises today. We ask Devi. In a like manner, the light dispels the darkness of night, so may the darkness of our ignorance be replaced by a light of spiritual wisdom. To this Mahalakshmi, we join in humble salutation. Om Pranayami Pujayami Karishami Ramyam Shubhanam Divyam Sarvasaukhyakaram Shubham Asanam Chamaya Rattam Dhanam
Matarani Kadyandari Matarani Kadyandari काम जब भी कोई करिए माता रानी का ध्यान धरिए काम जब भी कोई करिए जय माता दी जय माता दी जय जय सत्यम बोलो बोलो जय माता दी जय माता दी जय जय सत्यम बोलो माता रानी का ध्यान धरिए माता रानी का ध्यान धरिए काम जब भी कोई करिए कोई मुश्किल पल में चलेगी हर जन्म में सफलता मिलेगी कोई मुश्किल पल में चलेगी हर जन्म में सफलता मिलेगी हर जन्म में सफलता मिलेगी सच्चे दिल से प्रणाम करिए साचे दिल से प्रणाम करिए काम जब भी कोई करिए माता रानी का ध्यान धरिए माता रानी का ध्यान धरिए काम जब भी कोई करिए रूप इनका सबसे निराला इस रूप से है जग से उजाला रूप इनका सबसे निराला इस रूप से है जग से उजाला इस रूप से है जग से उजाला इनका सदा सुमरिए काम जब भी कोई करिए जय माता दी जय माता दी जय जय सत्यम बोलो बोलो जय माता दी जय माता दी जय जय सत्यम बोलो माता रानी का ध्यान धरिए माता रानी का ध्यान धरिए काम जब भी कोई करिए देवी माँ की करो दिल से भांति भांति देवी है जीने की शांति देवी माँ की करो दिल के शांति भांति देवी है जीने की शांति भांति देवी है जीने की शांति जग में फिरना किसी से नहीं फिरना किसी से नहीं काम जब भी कोई करिए जय माता दी जय जय सत्यम बोलो बोलो जय माता दी जय जय सत्यम बोलो माता रानी का ध्यान धरिए माता रानी का ध्यान धरिए काम जब भी कोई करिए काम जब भी कोई करिए
Transpanslo, we glorify the Divine Mother as Mahalakshmi. Om Mahalakshmi तुम्हारी कृपा करो हृदय में वास, मनोकामना सिद्ध करी पूर्व मेरी आस। त्राहि त्राहि दुखारिणी हरो वेदी सब क्लास। जयति जयति जय लक्ष्मी करी शकुन का नाश। महालक्ष्मी नमस्तुभ्यं नमस्तुभ्यं सुरेश्वरी। हरिप्रिये नमस्तुभ्यं नमस्तुभ्यं दयानिधे। ॐ या देवी सर्वभूतेषु लक्ष्मीरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। प्रेम से महालक्ष्मी माता की जय। शरणं प्रभु। We offer salutations and praises to Bhagavan as Navgraha. Navgraha symbolizing, of course, the planet in our solar system. We as Hindus, we accept our lives are influenced by the energy from these planets, which can be both positive or negative. Today we are asking whatever negativity there may be, O Bhagavan, by your grace and blessings, we will be inspired with the knowledge and intelligence, the wisdom to be able to recognize those challenges, and the ability to be able to overcome them as well through your guidance. So we're seeking guidance here. And also we are asking Bhagavan to bless these individuals who are in some way or the other suffering from the negative effects of the Graha, whether it's through illness or some pains or whatever it is might be. We're praying for universal welfare, first of all, but these names I'm going to be mentioning are names that are supporters of this temple or their families are anyway. And they have asked us to put these names on here, so we like to satisfy their needs. And we pray these people, of course, recover fully, join their families at home, and become contributing members to those families as well. But if time has come for them to make their exit, then let it be as simple as possible. You know, I always say, man should live blissfully. But if that doesn't happen, then at least he should die peacefully, which we all will. But hopefully that peace will come. We don't know what's going to happen, what's in store for all of us. Our karma will determine that, and the karmic effects are very powerful. But through prayers and through the things that we do, we can alleviate the effects of the karma by doing the right things. And those are, we commit our karmas in three ways: through our thought process, through our speaking, through our actions. We can help to overcome them through the same means, through meditation, through singing glories of Bhagavan and singing his bhajans and kirtans, and of course through righteous actions where we work towards the welfare of all of humanity, and selfless actions. So these people, of course, Sheila Singhudas, Srimati Janki Samaro, Shriman Birju Rampal, Srimati Anjali Rampal, Srimati Harde Ramprasad, Shriman Dev Pagu. I think Dev has recovered pretty well now.
Yeah.
Shriman Roy Sankar, I'm not sure about him.
He is still critical.
Okay, Srimati Jenny Prasad, is she still okay? Or
Who's that?
Jenny Prasad, that is Sita's family.
Isn't that the lady who died?
I don't know, I haven't been able to speak to
Okay,
her.
I'll ask her.
I hope not. Ashriman Mulastar Budan, and he's not doing so well. I spoke
yes.
with his wife.
She died.
Oh, Jenny died?
Jenny's, yeah, she died.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. All right, we'll offer prayer for Jenny's Jiva. Shriman Mulastar Budan, he's not doing too good. Srimati Kamini Devki Nandan, Srimati Yolanda Bowen, Srimati Viveka Prasad. Viveka, okay?
Oh, she's recovering pretty
Okay.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, her name is on our list, so I gotta ask.
Thank you.
I should update myself before I call her name. Alright, Srimati Rampati Lildar not doing well either. Shriman Udit Narayan, who's Udit Narayan? I think I know who it is, but I can't remember who it is now. Alright. And Srimati Rini Bisnath, spelled wrong, unfortunately. Alright, so these are the people who are on our list, and of course there are other people, your family members and so, who might be suffering in some way or the other. We pray for their welfare as well, even though we haven't called their names, but you, as a member of the family, can do so. And we pray for universal welfare for all of humanity. We hope there's no illness in the world, but karmic actions being what they are, there will be. Otherwise, all the doctors will go on without work. The nurses too, the PSW as well. But everything makes up the world. There's good and bad. There's health and illness too. And like day and night, all equal pairs of opposites. So let's join in our salutations. We pray for peace in heavenly regions, peace in the atmosphere, peace upon the earth, as it affects our own lives. Om Brahma Murari Sripurantakari Bhanu Shashi Bhumi Sutodasya Gurustya Sukra Shani Rahu Ketu Sarve Graha Shanti Kara Bhavantu Sarve Graha Shanti Kara Bhavantu Prem Susi Nauna Devata Ki Jai Sharanam Prabhu. Little flower in the hand. We meditate now on our salutations of Bhagavan Vishnu, Vishnu the all-pervasive divinity who becomes manifest from time to time and age to age, for the benefit of humankind, by whose grace and blessings the dumb speaks, the lame walks, the blind sees, the impossible becomes possible. Today we are asking, O Bhagavan, in the same way become manifest in the world, for the benefit of humankind. May you manifest yourself in my heart. Be the guide of my intellect, guiding me on the path of truth, of dharma, of righteousness, of religion, the path which leads to welfare here and hereafter too. To this Mahavishnu, today we join in humble salutations. Om Sashanka Chakram Sakirita Kundalam Sapita Vastram Sarasiva Vikshanam Sarvakshastalakaustubhastiyam Namami Vishnu Shivasachaturbhujam Om Karoti Vachalam Pangumam Bhakti Giram Yatkipatamam Vande Paramananda Madhavam Om Nilam Bhuja Shamala Kumalangam Sita Samaropitavamavadam Pano Mahasaika Charuchapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham Om Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedasme Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataya Namah Om Neelavarnam Pitavastram Srivatsaparibhushitam Govindam Gokulanandam Brahmaderapi Pujitam Brahmaderapi Pujitam Sri Mahavishnu Bhagavanabhyo Namaha Namami Om Ramyam Sashobhanam Divyam Sarvasaukhyakaram Shubham Asanam Chamayadabham Lord Parameshwaram
Majal Bhagvat Prem Ka Naino Meruta Anth mein bhakti ki mala प्रभु सुमिरन गाहा काजल भगवत प्रेम का नैनों में उठा में भक्ति की माला प्रभु सुमिरन गाहा बोलो राम सिया राम सिया राम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे नैनों को बस आस रही हरि दर्शन की प्यास लगे जब कंठ को प्रभु जल की हो प्यार कानों में प्रभु की पर हो जग संग भक्ति की माला प्रभु बोलो बोलो सिया राम सिया राम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे हाथों को जब भी मिले प्रभु चरणों के धूल पाठ करे चरणों की सेवा माथे करके धूल नित्य करो प्रभु की भक्ति से ये तो सच्चा प्यार भक्ति की माला प्रभु सुमिरन गाहा बोलो सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे अधरों पर हर पल भर प्रभु सुमिरन के बोल विद्या को पल पल मिले हरि अमृत का बोल नारायण के कदम जहाँ प्रभु का भक्ति की माला प्रभु सुमिरन गाहा काजल भगवत प्रेम का नैनों में उठा भक्ति की माला प्रभु सुमिरन गाहा बोलो राम बोलो राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम
प्रेम से उसी महाविष्णु भगवान की जय। श्री राम प्रभु बोलो राम Ram is with this one.
बोलो राम जय जय राम बोलो राम जय जय राम बोलो राम जय जय राम
बोलो राम जय जय राम बोलो राम
बोलो राम जय जय राम
बोलो राम जय जय राम बोलो राम
जन्म सफल होगा रे बंदे
प्रेम से महाविष्णु भगवान की जय श्याम प्रभु. Once again with flowers and a table white. With flowers in their hands, we join the offering of salutations to Bhagavan Shiva Shambhu, Shiva symbolizing the re-observing aspect of divinity. Atman becomes merged into Paramatman. When moksha is achieved, he is called Vardata, the giver of boons, by repeating the Panchakshara mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, with love, with devotion. In the puja of Bhagavan Shiva, the sinful tendencies inherent in us, rather by anger, greed, jealousy, covetousness, hatred, pride, envy, all products of the ego, these become burnt in the fires of our devotion. In this manner, we are able to attain purity of thoughts, of words, of deeds, of mind, of intellect, of actions, which are prerequisites for self-realization, by offering puja, by offering worship to Bhagavan Shiva, with love, with devotion. I invite you now to sit upright, to cast away the worldly cares. We all have them. Let's put these at the back of the minds for a little while we meditate on the most pleasing aspect of Bhagavan. Bhagavan is beyond names, beyond forms. The names and the forms are tools which we use to help us to keep the mind from wandering. Let us use those tools now. Imprint the image of Shiva within the heart. Let's ask him to remain there to be the guide of our intellect, guiding us on the path that will lead to the highest welfare. To this Shiva, we join in humble salutation. Pashunam Patimvam Nasham Paresham Najendrasya Kritim Vasanam Harenyam Jatajukamadye Sturadagam Havarim Mahadevam Smarami Smararim Om Mahesham Suresham Suraratinasham Vibhum Vishwanatham Vibhujangabhusham Virupaksham Bharatavahami Prinetram Saranandanihe Prabhu Panchavakram Om Girisham Ganesham Gale Neelavarnam Gajendradhirudam Gunatigarupam Bhavam Bhasman Bhasmanam Bhushitangam Bhavani Kalapram Bhaje Panchavakram Om Shivakanta Shambho Shashankara Namore Maheshana Shurin Jakajum Jagarin Tvamitra Jagatavyapaku Vishwarupa Prasidam Prasidam Nalabhurnarupam Om Namaste Namaste Vibho Vishwamurate Namaste Namaste Chidanandamurte Namaste Namaste Tapayogagamyam Namaste Namaste Shrutiyanagam Om Prabhushulapane Vibho Vishwanath Mahadeva Shambho Mahesha Prineta Shivakanta Shanta Smarare Purare Puranyo Varenyo Namanyo Nagamya Puranyo Varenyo Namanyo Nagamya Om Sri Shiv Shankara Bhagavanayo Namami Om Ramyam Shishobharam Divyam Sarvasaukhyakaram Shubham Aswaram Cha Maya Raktam Vihara Shiva Shankaram Om Namo Astu Neelagrivayam Sahasrakshaya Vidushe Athoye Asya Satvano Hantebhyo Karannama Om Triyambakam Yajamare Sugandhim Pushtivarnam Urvarukmeva Vandhanam Nrityo Mokshyamamrita Om Varunasya Utamanmasi Varunasya Stam Sarjanisto Varunasya Retsaramyasi Varunasya Retsaramasi Varunasya Retsaramasi Panyamanyamachmanyam Svanam Sri Shiv Shankara Bhagavan Pujanam Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Namo Namah Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Namo Namah Om Gokshiradhamandesham Gokshirenmaya Kritam Svapanam Deva Devesh Vihana Shiva Shankaram Shiv Snanam Sri Shiv Shankara Bhagavan Pujanam Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Namo Namah Om Namah Shivaya Om Pancham Shivaya Namo Namah Om Shivvala Sarva Shivalo Manivala Snashvinam Shabda Shekha Akshiranaste Rupa Pashupati Tamanyama Aviliptara Udra Namo Rupa Parajanya Ganga Jal Snanam Shujjal Snanam Sri Shiv Shankar Bhagwan Namo Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Namo Namah Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Namo Namah Prem to Sri Shiv Shankar Bhagwan Ki Jai Sharanam Prabhu Om Shri Matu Shansan Pranam
Jai Shankar Kailashapati Shiva Purana Brahma Sadaya
we'll ask Amar to do the Panchakshar Stotra.
Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Har Har Bol Namah Shivaya, Om
Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya,
Class 20, Lord my Lord Shiv. Om Tvam Girjamati Sahajapana Shariram Pujate Vishayopabhogarachana Vidra Samadhishtiti Sanchara Padayoparakshinavi Stotrani Sarvagyo Yadyat Karam Karomi Karat Kilam Shambho Taradhanam Om Karacharan Kritam Va Kayajam Karmajam Va Srodhanayajam Va Manasavapradam Vihitam Vastavam Jai Jai Karmadev Shri Mahadev Shambho Jai Jai Karmadev Shri Mahadev Shambho Prem So Shri Shiv Shankar Bhagwan ki jai, Sharanam Prabhu. This time we'll be taking prasadam. I see only two here today, I think, so that's going to be pretty short. While that is going on, we'll have the Shiva Abhishekam. If you're performing Abhishekam, use the utensils. Please sanitize your hands after you use them, because we have sanitizer in the front. And at the back, make sure you do so before you touch any parts of your body. And keep your distance as well, so that not two people are not there at the same time. So just one at a time. We'll give you the time to finish off with that. And also, of course, while that is happening too, simultaneously with that will be the kirtan and bhajan singing, and we still have a lot of people still have to sing it. So hopefully we can get all that into play within the next 20 minutes or so. All right, thank you. In the meantime, we'll continue with this.
Jaya
ज्योति सूर्य स्वाहा ओम सूर्यो वरजु ज्योति वरजः स्वाहा ओम ज्योति सूर्यो ज्योति स्वाहा ओम सजो देवना सवित्रा सजुषेन्द्र वत्य विशान सूर्यो वेदो स्वाहा ओम भूरग्नये प्राणाय स्वाहा ओम भूर्वायाव्यापाणाय स्वाहा ओम स्वरदित्याय ज्ञानाय स्वाहा ओम
मन हरि हर सुमिरो मन नारायण
भजुमन हरि हर ओम सुमिर मन नारायण
भजुमन हरि हर सुमिरो मन नारायण
भजुमन हरि हर ओम सुमिर मन नारायण
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि
भजुमन हरि हर सुमिरो मन नारायण
हरि हर ओम सुमिर मन नारायण
भजुमन सूरज भजुमन चंद्रा
भजुमन सूरज भजुमन चंद्रा
भजुमन सूरज भजुमन चंद्रा
भजुमन सूरज भजुमन चंद्रा
भजुमन पवन सुमिरो मन नारायण
भजुमन पवन सुधीर सुमिर मन नारायण
भजुमन हरि हर सुमिरो मन नारायण
भजुमन हरि हर ओम सुमिर मन नारायण
भजुमन ब्रह्मा भजुमन विष्णु
भजुमन ब्रह्मा भजुमन विष्णु
भजुमन ब्रह्मा भजुमन विष्णु
भजुमन ब्रह्मा भजुमन विष्णु
भजुमन शिव ओंकार
सुमिर मन नारायण भजुमन शिव ओंकार सुमिर मन नारायण
भजुमन हरि हर सुमिरो मन नारायण
भजुमन हरि हर ओम सुमिर मन नारायण
भजुमन सीता भजुमन रामा
भजुमन सीता भजुमन रामा
भजुमन सीता भजुमन रामा
भजुमन सीता भजुमन रामा
भजुमन हनुमत वीर सुमिरो मन नारायण
भजुमन हनुमत वीर सुमिर मन नारायण
भजुमन हरि हर सुमिरो मन नारायण भजुमन हरि हर सुमिरो मन नारायण
भजुमन हरि हर ओम सुमिर मन नारायण放在这里，你正面。
来，过来，拿出来理。
Yes, I think so. कभी दुर्गा बन के कभी काली बन के चले आना मैया जी चले आना कभी दुर्गा बन चले आना मैया जी चले आना हाथ लेके चले आना मैया जी चले आना धरती दुर्गा बनके धरती काली बनके चले आना मैया जी चले आना खाली रूप में आना खबर बात लेके योगी साथ लेके चले आना मैया जी चले आना कभी दुर्गा बनके कभी काली बनके चले आना मैया जी चले आना तुम शिखर रूप में आना तुम शिखर रूप में आना जादू हाथ लेके खत साथ लेके चले आना मैया जी चले आना कभी दुर्गा बनके कभी काली बनके चले आना मैया जी चले आना मेरा हाथ लेके गणपति साथ लेके चले आना मैया जी चले आना कभी दुर्गा बनके कभी काली बनके चले आना मैया जी चले आना सारी रूप में आना सारी रूप में आना भक्ति हाथ लेके शक्ति साथ लेके चले आना मैया जी चले आना कभी दुर्गा बनके कभी काली बनके चले आना मैया जी चले आना कभी दुर्गा बनके कभी काली बनके चले आना मैया जी चले आना चले आना मैया जी चले आना चले आना मैया जी चले आना
Everybody say? Okay. Maybe you go on. Now, devotees, once again, warm welcome to not only you who are in the temple here, but also those who have joined us virtually. I have to be honest, the atmosphere at home is not the same as it is here, and I think a lot of you understand that. Because the feelings you get, the participation you're able to do is absent when you're home. So it's not the same. The Shakti, when the bhajan is sung, I can feel the hair in the back of my head raising. I don't feel that at home. I don't have the same feeling. Because you're so busy doing everything else at the same time. You're multitasking and you're listening on the side and looking once in a while. That's okay. For those who are unable to come for whatever reason it is, then we still welcome you. And we thank you for joining with us as well, even though virtually. But to be here, of course, you gotta book ahead and make the trip and come and join with us. We welcome all of you who wants to, but you gotta make sure you book ahead so that we don't overcrowd the place. And today we're quite good actually. Everybody's able to maintain their distances. That's a wonderful thing. So until we've actually licked this COVID, and I don't know when that will be because it seems to be going upwards instead of downwards. And many of us have already been vaccinated, so the people who are resisting are the ones mainly around infection amongst those who have not been vaccinated. But I understand that yesterday there were about 150 people who had both vaccines and they still contracted the COVID. Now that's okay. If you had your vaccine and you contracted, it means you've been associated with people with COVID. It means you will get the disease, but you're prepared. So you're not gonna die. You might not even be hospitalized, you'll feel it like the flu. But if you're not, there are two possibilities. One, you get it and you recover, and two, you die. It's that simple. To be prepared means to be vaccinated. Now, if you're vaccinated, then you might get it, but more than likely you will recover. The possibility is if you have underlying conditions, you could get sicker. But let's hope that that doesn't happen. So it's not that we're not going to get COVID. Eventually, every one of us will get it. It's not going anywhere in a hurry. And to be prepared is the best way to approach this thing. So if anybody is withholding themselves and have all kind of conspiracy theory, this is going to happen, Bill Gates is putting a chip in me and tracking me, all that is nonsense. Nonsense. I don't know that there is a liquid chip anywhere that will be able to do that. But people believe all kind of stupid things, so you can't stop people from believing crazy things, you believe me. Look what's happening south of the border here. So you just gotta look there to find out how crazy people can actually be and how you can be led astray by your own leaders sometimes too. So what can I say? If anytime I say something wrong and one of you approach me and tell me, Pandit, you're wrong, I'm willing to listen to you, okay? I'm not perfect in any way. I have to be honest. None of us are perfect, but we strive for perfection. And that's why we attend temples, that's why we go to read our scripture, that's why we participate in meditation, to become wise, so that we can become perfect. Now, we've just gone through the period of Navratri, ending on last Thursday with Vijayadashmi. And Vijayadashmi means that is the day that Sri Ram actually disposed of the evil Ravan, symbolizing, of course, the end of the ego. Now, after the ego ends, what happened? We have Ram Raj. But to get there, there are many sacrifices that has to be made along the way. Today we look at some of those sacrifices, how we go about getting rid of Mr. Ego. You know what the ego is? The sense of I-ness, the sense of myness. This is mine, that is mine. I'd like to know what we're going to take with us when we actually make our exit out of this plane. All of us love material things, no doubt about that, we do. But Hinduism doesn't say you shouldn't have material things. Material things are to be used for the purpose of the welfare of humanity. And the more we have, the better position we have to do so. But most of us are in a situation where we don't know how long we're going to live. We don't know what our needs will be as we get older. So we try to accumulate as much as possible, hopefully to spend on ourselves as we get older. And we all think we'll live forever, no doubt about that. So that's not the divine intent for us to live forever. The body becomes weak, it becomes old, it becomes decrepit, and then all too soon for us, we exit. And then the material things, we spend so much time and so much energy and so much sacrifice gathering is left here. And you know, whatever is easily come is easily gone as well. Because what is going to happen, your children are going to be the inheritors of what you have. and they will not have the same respect you had for them. In fact, I can see when me and my wife pass on, the first thing my kids are going to bring a U-Haul in front of my house. Not a U-Haul, a skip, a dumpster, and throw everything inside. Make the house clean and empty, so they can sell it. I can see this is going to happen, but I have no control over that. Okay, none of us do. But it's going to happen, and you know what? Good luck to them. I hope they use it wisely. If I have anything left. I'm hoping that the last day I'll spend my last dollar. But that may not happen. So the idea of ego is in all of us, and it's a survival thing. There's nothing wrong in having some ego, but being able to control it is our problem. Ravan was there. He is the symbol of the ego, but he could not control that ego of his. He thinks the entire world is his. And you know, when one becomes that way, it's very difficult to control them. So what happens? Because of his activities based upon that egoistic attitude, he began to terrorize other people. And we see that even happening up to now. Exploiting others. And that exploitation, of course, is the divine, meaning that the divine power has to enter into the play. And the divine power came into a home where everything is provided for him already. His education has been provided for him, he's got everything. And on the night before, he is to be made king of his realm. Disaster strikes. And you know, when you look at the life of Sri Ram, it's one filled with disaster after disaster after disaster. Yet up to this day, we as Hindus hold Sri Ram up at a standard above everyone else. Now if you had a life of disaster like him, I don't know what's going to happen. Everybody is going to be laughing at us. Why? Because we don't know how to handle this disaster. Whereas Sri Ram hasn't lost his temper a single time. He didn't allow himself to be carried away. He accepted all the disasters that fell his way. First, he lost his kingdom. He was sent into exile, which means he has to live like a pauper. There he loses his spouse. He has to engage in other activities to get her back. And after he gets her back, what happens? He sends her into exile because just to make his subjects happy. And every king needs to look after their subjects. That's what you're elected as king for, not to persecute others. And we see, unfortunately, the kind of thing that goes on in the world at this time. Ego is riding high. And we as humans, we've made so many barriers along the way that we have difficulty taking them down. Every time we talk to people, we talk to them with an anger, we look down upon them, instead of trying to be on an equal footing. Everybody is our equal. No matter who you are, no matter how wealthy or how poor you are, you're still a human being. You have the same kind of stuff I have. I'm not different from you in any way. The only difference is the internal aspect, the Sukshma Sharir that makes up all of us, based upon our karma, is different. The DNA is different too. Each one of us come from different family. Some of us have our noses from what, 3-4 generations back. And we always say, oh, he resembled his dad. His dad resembled his dad. His dad resembled his dad too. That's normal. The DNA makes all this possible. But it's this subtle body that resides in all of us is where the difference lies. My flesh, my blood, all the things that make me up physically are the same as yours. Nothing different. The proportion might be different. I might be bigger than some people else. But this idea is the ingredients are the same. You can have a big cake and a small cake with the same ingredients, isn't it? Are they different? Except in size, they're the same. They come from the same mixture even. So, on the night before Rama is to be made king. So this is where the sacrifices begin. And this is where the ego starts to be recognized and the actions that we have to take to bring it under control, bring it under check. So I'm going to use the story of Ramcharitmanas here today to indicate how we go about doing it and what does it do to us. Ramayana is a wonderful, wonderful text. It tells a practical story of man. And we all go through the same thing. Rama's gone through disaster. Don't tell me you're not going to go through disaster. Every time you lose some loved one, it's a disaster in itself. And here, Tulsidas is writing the story of Sri Ram. The king has issued the order. Rama is to be sent in exile. But he calls his charioteer and he tells him, go tell them to go into the chariot because they're walking on foot. And what happens when they're going on foot? All the citizens of Ayodhya is going with them. It means that when we are in difficulties, there are many people who will come to pay respects. There are many people who are going to come and sympathize with you. And so the citizens of Ayodhya are those, plus the thoughts that come into your mind are the kind that most people will say, okay, I want revenge, right? Look for a way to extract revenge. Not Sri Ram. He recognized not only that his role lay in going into exile, but bringing down the ego as well. And recognizing this, he of course goes along, but while he's walking, Sumantra came, the charioteer came, and said, "Oh Sri Ram, please, the three of you climb upon the chariot, I'll take you out of the city." The idea is that the citizens must not follow. Now Rama, of course, and Sita and Lakshmana eventually did, but the instruction from the king was, take them around for about 3-4 days, and after 4 days bring them back. That by the time then, his thinking is that by the time then Kekeyi will think they will have been placated and things will be back to some kind of normalcy. Not knowing this actually is the mission of Sri Ram. Picking up the story, of course, let's join in a short part now. Om Lokabhiramam Gandhiram Rajivanetram Raghuvanshanatham Karunarupam Karunaharantam Shri Ramachandram Sharanam Prabhate Jai
Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Rama Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Rama Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Jai Jai Rama Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Rama Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama
Karpuragaram Karunakaram Sansarasaram Bhujagendramaram Sada vasantam Hridayanavindam Om Bhavani Saitam Brahmani Jai
Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Rama Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama
pick up the story reading from the Sri Ramcharitmanas, and Tulsidas begins with Chaupai. चलत राम की चलत राम की अवदना एक योग सम लागे साधा जय राम श्री Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Kripa Sindhu Bahu, Kripa Sindhu Bahu, Kripa Sindhu Bahu. Kripa Sindhu Bahu Jani Musakaye, Kripa Sindhu Bahu Vidu Samjhavaye, Virahi Prema Bas Puni Pirikavaye, Virahi Prema Bas Puni Pirikavaye. Jai Ram Shri Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jai Ram. Now when people saw that Sri Ram set out of Ayodhya and Ayodhya was left desolate, they were totally confused. They began to follow him. Sri Ram used every possible means to dissuade them. And they turned homewards, but overmastered by their affection, they came back again. This makes me remember, when someone loses a spouse, for instance, and the spouse is lying in their casket and the person is crying or lamenting, as the case might be, and they will leave the casket for a few minutes and then come right back again, start all over. I don't know how many you've seen that. I've been to enough funerals to know this is like a funeral, really, that's what it is. And I gotta be honest, over this COVID period here this past year, nearly 2 years now, it's a year and 6 months for sure, many people have lost their lives. Many spouses have left their partners. And it hurts to see that the family could not even go to pay their respects. People were left on their own pretty well. And some of them never saw their family again. Such a terrible thing that has happened to all of us. And we have passed through this period. We are coming to the end of the tunnel. I don't know why people are hesitant, but I'm not in their minds. I can't speak for them. But people need to wake up. If they haven't seen what has happened around them, then they're not paying attention. Overmastered by their affection, they came right back again. All over, starting over. Why? Tulsidas writes, Chaupai. पति अवध भया बनिहारी मानव काल राशि अधियारी जय राम श्री राम
जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
श्री राम जय जय राम घोर जंतु सम पुर नर नारी दर्पहे कहिए कनिहारी एक निहारी रामा एक निहारी दर्पहे कहिए कनिहारी जय राम श्री राम
जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम. So here Tulsidas says, for these people who are accompanying Sri Ram, Ayodhya appeared to them as dismal and oppressive, as a dark night of doom. The citizens looked like ghastly beasts and were frightened to see each other. This is how terrible it has become. You're afraid to mingle with your people as we are today because of the COVID. By that time there was no COVID, but people were so within themselves with grief. They were unable to express that grief. And Tulsidas, of course, the master of using the simile, for instance, is using this to indicate the dark night of doom when everything comes to an end. There is no such thing. What is here has always been here. Okay, what is here will always be here. Matter cannot be created nor destroyed. Humanity may bring his own end, yes, that might be a possibility. Why? Because of the stupidity. We are all to some extent stupid. Why? Because of our greed and our need for power. Everybody has that same thing. Every country wants to be the most populous and most progressive country in the world, and they use all means to do so. Well, continuing, Tulsidas writes Chapai again. कर्मसान परिजन जनुभूता जन जनुभूता सुमित मीत मनहु जमदूता सुमित मीत मनहु जमदूता जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम बादल वितप बेल कुमिलाही बादल वितप बेल कुमिलाही सरित सुरावर देखी न जाई सरित सरोवर देखी न जाई राम देखी न जाई सरित सरोवर देखी न जाई जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम. their homes, the homes of these citizens of Ayodhya, appear like so many crematories or cemeteries. They retain, they want to go back, they don't want to go back. They're retainers like so many ghosts. Sons and daughters and friends like messengers of death. Yamdut they call them. And it's basically Yamdut. The trees and the creepers in the garden withered. Streams and lakes repel the eyes. They don't want to see these things, all the streams in it, which they usually use for washing. So my friends, it was a total case of sadness, of distress. A distress which the poet is having trouble describing. And that is what happens when we, unfortunately, are imbibed with ego, which is what this thing is telling us how to go about ridding itself of it. Because don't forget, the entire story of Ramcharitmanas, beginning to the end, is because of Ravan, the ego being so oppressive and has taken control of all the people who are trying to be good and oppressing them. And it takes a divine intervention to be able to bring this. Now, what is a divine intervention, we gotta ask? Because Bhagavan is not gonna come for you and I, okay? We are honest. But that inspiration has to come from within. In the performance of the Devi Puja, I'm gonna stop for today here because that's enough reading, but I'd like to speak a little bit more on this. In the performance of the Devi Puja, and all of you who are witnesses or you sponsor it yourself, will see that certain sacrifices are made. Sacrifices of the coconut, the sacrifices of the banana flower, the sacrifice of the lime, the sacrifice of the nutmeg. All these things are performed in the Balidan. And we don't take the effort to associate them with what is going on in our lives. The coconut, because of its hardness and difficult to break, is a symbol of your ego and mine. And we break it without thinking. We want to hit it with one shot and break it, right? Isn't that how it is? Everybody try to break it with the first shot. You tell me if you can break your ego with the first shot. It's never going to happen. It's too hard. Now, some people do break the coconut. Doesn't mean that the ego is so easy to break, okay? They break it with the first shot. I've seen that. I've done quite a few Durga Puja this year. And most of them are doing 10 coconuts and this kind of thing. But we do 10 right. The sacrifice is bigger. But how many of us learn from the lessons imparted there? Very few people, because you do it as a duty and you forget all about it the next day. The idea is, if you're going to do this, remember the lesson. The lesson is more important than the act itself. But we do the act to remind ourselves of what we need to do. And a lot of us are not paying the heed. Puja itself, the sacrifice, is set up in such a way as to leave a lesson, an impression upon the performer, that by the time I reach my principal deity, I should be able to understand that I can actually achieve realization. I can achieve it. We all have that ability. Nobody is left out. But unless we make the same sacrifices the previous rishis have made to get there, we're not going to get there. I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's not a disaster that we don't get there. Life is wonderful. Don't be in a hurry to get there. Enjoy what you got. Live every day to its fullest, but live it righteously, without trying to exploit others, and without allowing yourself to be exploited. Now in the conditions we live here, all of us are exploited to a certain extent. Why? Because it's all profit-based. It's not human-based. Everything is profit. And this is how we operate, because we've been reared from day one, when we were born, that this is the way it's going to be. You have to be profit-minded. Nobody wants to do anything for nothing. No matter what it is. Even when you go to pray, aren't you asking Bhagavan for something? You think Bhagavan is Father Christmas, he's going to give you whatever you want? We're not asking for our daily bread. We have the means to have it ourselves. The Bhagavan is already in there. You're blessed with all the things that you need. All of us are. No one is left out. And the reward at the end of life is for all of us too if we make efforts. But because of the system we are growing in, and you may say I'm talking ideally. Ideally, yes, it's ideal. It's not going to happen in our lifetime. But enjoy the life that you have. But live it righteously with a clear conscience. Do not wait for someone else to give you all the things that you need. It's not going to happen. You have to go out there and earn it yourself. The same way you earn your pay at the end of the month or week or whatever it is that you get it, the same way you have to earn your religious merits as well. Bhagavan is not going to give you religious. We know we ask for forgiveness all the time. We do, and it's good to be grateful. We are grateful for the life that we have. And if you tell me you're not grateful, then you're not telling the truth. Even the person who is suffering illness, suffering poverty, they still are grateful for the little that they have. And we are lucky that we live in a place like Canada where, because of the social network and so on, things are provided if you cannot afford them. They have other means to be able to assist ourselves. We are grateful for those things, but they haven't come there easily. Our foreparents and parents before us have worked hard to make it happen that way. And we are really grateful, and that is why we perform Shraddha Puja and so on, to give our thanks to those people who have sacrificed in the past so that we can enjoy the luxuries that we do today. Same thing goes for the Devi Puja. Over the past it's more than 9 days now. Thursday was the last day. So that's Thursday was 10, Friday 11, Sunday 12, today is the Trayodasi, 13th day already. So the 13th day already since the thing, but it doesn't mean that the lessons are gone wasted. I was planning today that I'm going to talk more about the Dashera, the Vijayadashmi, which I did, but I was going to only speak. But you know, I got Amar here, I cannot waste his talent. I cannot waste his talent. Okay. Since he's here, did you enjoy the Ramayana meeting, by the way? Good. So you see, I gotta intersperse it with some spice from time to time. Otherwise it becomes, if I only talk, which I love to do, by the way, okay? Don't get me wrong. I make my living talking, you know that. But the thing is, if I only talk, it becomes dry. You gotta make it a little bit more. You can't eat rice alone, you gotta put some curry inside, right? If you don't mix it up, well, what's gonna happen? It becomes boring. So no matter how much lessons I impart, after a while you forget them all. But if I sing some of them, maybe you might most likely stay in. Am I right? Good. And I'm not a good singer, so what can I tell you? You see, I never sing a bhajan here, once in a while only. But when Shyam doesn't come, I sing the Krishna bhajan. That's good. But he does a better job of it than I do, so I have to give him a chance. The same with Amar, he does a better job on the Namah Shivaya than I do. And I appreciate that because when he does, I feel my hair standing on the back of my head here. I don't know about you.
That's a big of
I was going to say that.
It's true, and that's a good joke. I get my son to come every 2 weeks and shave it off. So, but that is the idea. You can still feel the skin crawling there a little bit, and it makes me the Shakti gets into you then. And that's why we're here. That's why we feel it when we're in the company, and that's why the vibration from the speakers make all this thing possible. When you're at home, here is our broadcast. That's all it is. I mean, you can follow it, yes. So all those people at home who are looking, I encourage you, come once in a while here and you will see the difference for yourself. This is why Tulsidas has written so extensively about the satsang. We'll continue this next week, by the way. So I'm not finishing here. We'll go to the Doha and then we'll finish it off. In fact, this is going to be a few weeks well. But my time is up. I want to thank all of you for coming. I want to thank all of you for joining. Before we go to the RT and the closing, I just want to remind you, of course, that the 4th of November will be Deepavali. It's on a Thursday. We are going to be having service on this Diwali day itself. I know some of you don't go out, leave your home on Diwali, but Lakshmi is everywhere. I just want to remind you, of that. And when you're in the company, it's even better. At home, you're on your own. Yes, I understand you watch the TV until they go out and this kind of thing. Whatever your liking is, please, that makes you happy, do it. That's okay. After all, our quest for life, in this life, our quest is happiness. And happiness comes from self-realization. Like it or not. What is happiness? Happiness is no worries, no anxieties, no doubts. And to get that, we have to educate ourselves. And by coming to temple, that's where the education is imparted. As Tulsidas says, Binu Satta Sangha Vivekana Hoy. Ability to tell right from wrong, the ability to instill righteousness within us comes from this satsang. Let's not forget that. And this is why we gather on a regular basis to do so. I thank all of you for being here. I hope those of you who are listening will also make it an effort to join us from time to time and be in the temple and experience the vibration that happens with the gathering. This is what it is. It's a vibration that is in the gathering. So thank you all. I think that night, Diwali night, Sato is sponsoring and there will be a dinner, takeaway dinner by the way, okay? So keep that in mind and we'll be glorifying Mahalakshmi through the Lakshmi Stotram and Bhajans and so on. So thank you all for, I said that already. So I think anything else I missed? I don't have any donations today.
2 anonymous donations.
2 anonymous, okay. So
one for $55 and one for $109.
Somebody is celebrating a 55th birthday, but they won't tell us. All right.
Somebody said it was $109.
No, it's not 109. I know who the 109 is. I know who that is already, and he never wants his name mentioned, but I'm not going to say who it is. That's okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for the donations. This is what helped to pay the bills here, so I understand that. And if you would like to give a donation, you make your check payable to The Voice of Dharma Temple, Scarborough, Inc. That's if you're writing a check. If it's cash, then you don't have to worry. It's got the government stamp on it. Okay, thank you all for being here. Let's stand for Aarti and closing.
Aarti Shri Ramayana Ji ki Kirati Kare Kare Thank you.
Om Shantaram Bhujageshwaram Adanaram Suresham Vishwadharam Naganasarisham Niravaranam Swaranam Lakshmikantam Kamayanam Yogi Vedanatam Vande Vishnu Bhavayaranam सर्वलोकैकनाथं त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव सखा त्वमेव विद्याद्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव ॐ मन्त्रहीनं क्रियाहीनं भक्तिहीनं जनार्दनं Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deva Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Gurudev Namaha Tasmai Sri Gurudev Namaha Om Yo Shanti Antariksham Shanti Prithvi Shanti Bhava Shanti Ushadeva Shanti Vanaspati Shanti Vishwadeva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvam Shanti 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 Friends, what else?
Alright, I just want to remind all of you. Oh no, leave it on. I just want to remind all of you, of course, Sunil, our son, is running for a senator position in Alberta. And he needs the help of all of you who have cousins and families in Alberta. You need to call them and tell them to vote for him. Tomorrow is election. So tomorrow night we should know if he wins or not. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. It's an idea of running and to want to contribute is the main thing. And I gotta be thankful. If you want to know of his information, he's on YouTube. Sunil Sukram. And, if
Dot
you,
CA.
and on the website is sunilsukram.ca. So that also on Facebook page, Dr. Sunil Sukram for Senate. So any one of these will give you his link. You can check him out, see his platform, and if you can help, we appreciate it. Both of us, my wife and I. So thank you. Thank you so much for listening.
And the results won't be known because the Prime Minister has to.
Oh yes, even after that, the Prime Minister has to, even if he wins, the Prime Minister has to select him. So we'll see. Thank you so much.